शश्वत स्वरूप महसैव निपीत भेद मोहाय बोध धिषणाय नमः परस्मै. Didn't we do this? Doesn't look like. No. विश्वोद्भवस्थिति लयेषु निमित्त लीला रासायते नम इदम विक्रमेश्वराय. Let me offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by his internal potency. His indistinguishable impersonal feature is realized by intelligence for self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto him, who by his pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. Dr. Siddhanta Saraswati works. Anuvad, a translation of his Anuvad. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is by your personal consciousness, Swarupa Chaitanya, that the delusion caused you to differentiation is destroyed at all points in time. You are the shelter of the potency of Vidya. Therefore, uh, you are the supreme truth, and we offer our obeisances unto you. Maya is external Maya. Bahiranga Maya is is one of the reasons for the universe's creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Through the sportive activities of that Maya, all of this happens. By your glance, you sport with that Maya. You are the Lord of Maya. That means you are the controller of Maya. We offer our obeisances unto you. अतः त्वामेव वयं नता. For all these reasons, we offer our obeisances unto you. Shashwat सर्वदा स्वरूप चैतन्येन एव निरस्तभेद भ्रमाय पुनश्च बोध एव दिशनाय विद्याशक्तिर्यस्य यद्वाधिगणम् आश्रय अतएव परस्मै. अत्र हेतुः विश्वोद्भवादिनिमित्तं या माया तस्या लीला विलासः तस्या रासः क्रीडा यस्य हेतुभ्यम् इदं नमो नमनं चक्रम कृतवन्तो वयम्. As it is, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Guru has brought it out in his translation. एवं उपासनानां द्विविधाम भक्तानां एवं उपासनां द्विविधाम भक्तानां निरूप्य पूर्वोक्त लक्षणं ज्ञानी भक्तयोर उपास्यं स्वरूपद्वयं प्रणमति. So he has pointed out two methods of upasana or meditation on the Lord by the devotees. Upasanam vividham bhaktanam. And then he offers his obeisances under two features of the Lord, who are the objects of the meditation of the Gyanis and the Bhaktas. This is Agastya. Wait. So, here also it is Agastyan. What does that mean? Wait. It is correct. सर्वदा स्वरूप चैतन्येन एव अगस्त्येन इव निपीत भेदः. But then there's a typing mistake. not either. निपीतः भेदः मोहसमुद्रः यतः तस्मै बोधस्य स्वरूप अनुभवस्य हेतुः दृशिणा बुद्धिः यतः तस्मै निर्विशेषस्वरूपाय नमश्चक्रम Ravam. We offer our obeisances unto your impersonal feature, because of whom there is the intelligence to realize that feature, because of which the delusion, which is compared to an ocean, the delusion of differentiation is compared to an ocean, and it has been drunk up by the force of his personal consciousness. Like Agastya, he drank up the whole ocean. तथा विश्व उद्भवादि निमित्तम या माया तस्मिन्नपि लीलया अवलोकन रूपाय रासः संभोगः यस्य तस्मै सर्वविशेष स्वरूपाय. And we also offer our obeisances unto your personal feature, and it is through this, in this personal feature, that you enjoy Maya through the pastime of glancing at her, and it is that which brings about the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the universes. The Shruti clearly says that he understood after half a lifetime of meditation. Brahma understood Krishna's appearance as a cowherd boy, and the Lord had appeared to him. कामधुगांग्रि पद्मं प्रदर्शयन्तुमिति पूर्वोक्तेः च सविशेषस्वरूपेषु अपि मध्ये श्रीकृष्णस्वरूपस्य एव परमपरिपूर्णत्वात् परमाश्रयत्वं ज्ञापितम्. Specifically is talking about that form of Sri Krishna, who is supremely, completely perfect, and he is the absolute shelter. There was a reference to this earlier also in Brahma's own prayers. The Supreme Lord is eternally distinguished from the living entities by his internal potency, although he is also understood in his impersonal feature by self-realized intelligence. Devotees of the Lord therefore offer all respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. The word rasa is significant here. The rasa dance is performed by Lord Krishna in the company of the cowherd damsels of Vrindavan. And the personality of God, Gauranga Vishnu, is also engaged in rasa enjoyment with his external potency, by which he creates, maintains, and dissolves the entire material manifestation. Indirectly, Lord Brahma offers his respectful obeisances unto Lord Sri Krishna, who is factually ever engaged in rasa enjoyment with the gopis, as confirmed in the Gopalatapani Upanishad in the following words: Paradhante subudhyata gopavesho me purushah purastat avirbabhuva. The distinction between the Lord and the living entity is definitely experienced when there is sufficient intelligence to understand his internal potency, as distinguished from the external potency, by which he makes possible the material manifestation. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also has paraphrased Jiva Goswami. It is by भगवानेर स्वरूप शक्तिर प्रभावे तद वैलक्षण्य द्वारा जीवादेव सहित भगवानेर भेदे जे मोह ताहा दूरीकृत होइयात्से. It is by the influence of Bhagavan's Swarupa Shakti through that special characteristic that the separation between Bhagavan and the Jiva and so on, the conception that they are actually separate has gone very far away. अर्थात जीवादि सहित भगवानेर भेद संभव है ना. The misconception, a भ्रम, that it is impossible for the jiva and the others to be separate from, to be different from Bhagavan. Bhagavanir ichhai utpaditah. That delusion also is created by the will of the Supreme Lord. Veda has a number of distinct meanings. Bheda can mean different. Bheda can mean uh, separable. Bheda can also mean uh, distinct in terms of interests. So many different senses in which this expression Bheda is used. When we say that the living entity can never become God, that is talking about substantial distinction. But the living entity can never become separate from God. So therefore, Bhagavatam repeatedly talks about Abheda in this sense. 15. Yasyavatara gunakarma vidambanani namani yesu vigame vivashagrinanti tenaika janma shamalam sahasaiva hitva samyan yapa vrutam tamajam prapadye. Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of him whose incarnations, qualities, and activities are mysterious imitations of worldly affairs. One who invokes his transcendental names even unconsciously at the time he quits this life is certainly washed immediately of the sins of many, many births and attains him without fail. Daha Devaki Nandan Prabhuti Avatar Suchak Sarvagya Bhaktavatsal Prabhuti Gunabachak O Govardhan Dhar Kamsadi Kamsari इत्यादि लीला और अनुरूप नाम जे व्यक्ति प्राण त्याग काले विवश हो एवं मात्र उच्चारण करें. If a person simply utters the holy names of the Supreme Lord, names which indicate his incarnations, such as Devaki Nandana, names which indicate which articulate his attributes, Sarvagya, Bhaktavatsala, names which are in accordance with his pastimes, Govardhanadhar, Kamsari, even in a state of helplessness, he simply utters these holy names at the time of giving up his life. Tini Shaddai, at that very moment, Bahujanma Sanchita Paparashi Hoite Mukta Hoiya, he becomes free from the entire accumulation of sinful reactions gathered from several lifetimes. Nirasta Kuhaka, Sachidananda Swarup Bhagavan ke prapta hoan. And he attains Bhagavan, who is Sachidananda in nature and who is uh, devoid of the delusions of Maya. Ami Brahma, say, Janmadir Rahita Bhagavan ke Bhagavan Sharanagata hoy. I, meaning Brahma is speaking, I surrender unto that Bhagavan who is devoid of birth and other degrading transformations. This is also coming straight from Sridhar Swami, you can see clearly. Namagrahana kaivalya pratattvena aishwaryam vyanjayan namaskaroti. Simply by uttering the holy names, the Supreme Lord grants kaivalya or isolation from material existence. That is his aishwarya, his opulent lordly nature. Revealing this, he offers his obeisances unto the Lord. उक्तलक्षणस्य उक्तलक्षण उपास्य उपासना ज्ञान गंधमपि विना नाम आभासमात्रत एव पशुतुल्येभ्यः अपि जनेभ्यः स्वपददायित्वेन परमकृपा ऐश्वर्यम् अचक्षाणः सविशेष स्वरूप एव स्वप्रपत्तिं विज्ञापयति यस्य. He then submits to the Lord that he is surrendering himself fully unto the personal feature. And he does this while talking about the opulence of the Lord's supreme mercy, because he grants his abode to people who are equal to even animals if they simply engage in namabhasa chanting with not even the smell of uh, the jnana process, which involves meditation on that object of meditation, which has already been characterized here as the impersonal feature. Avataradi sadrishani tattulya shaktini iti sandarbha. The holy names are similar to these incarnations, qualities, activities. In other words, they possess the same potencies as those incarnations. Yadva, alternate meaning. Avatara adinam vidambanam. Nata adishu anukaranamapi yaihi tani. Even if one engages in dramatic performances about these avatars, that is also useful. Yadva, avatārādi vidambanāni svabhratri putrādi jiva vishesha vāshikatva avatārādya anurūpāni ityarthaha. Tatra Krishnoyam Ramoyam Narayanam इत्यादीनि अवतार विडंबनानि दयालुः दीनबन्धुः दामोदर इत्यादीनि कर्म विडंबनानि नामानि ये जना अजामिलादेव प्राणविगमे वशापि गृह्णन्ति केवलम् उच्चारयन्ति. Now, to simply utter names of one's own brother, son, and so on, who are actually particular jivas, and these names are referring to their names, but these names may be originally the names of the Supreme Lord in his various incarnations. So these names are actually not in the full significance. They are not in line. They are not in line with the names of the spiritual names of those incarnations and so on. So they will refer to their own family members by name as, okay, here is Krishna, here is Rama, here is Narayana, and so on. Or these are names particular to incarnations. Then there are also names pertaining to various activities of the Lord. For instance, somebody may be given a name Dayalu, somebody may be given a name Dinabandhu or Damodara. So, like Ajamila, at the moment of death, even in a state of helplessness, if they simply uttered these names, Shamalam, Papam, Apavritam, Nirasta Avaranam, Ritam, Sachidananda Swarupam, Bhagavantam, Atma Tattva, Vishuddhyartham, Vishuddhyartham, Yadaha Bhagavan Ritam, Brahmane Darshayan Rupam Ityatra, Tatheva Vyakshana. So then he attains the abode of this Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, who is Sachidananda in nature, who is uncovered by any coating of Maya, after having become freed from the accumulation of sins. The word Ritam, there is a Ritam here. The word Ritam here somewhere. He has a reading of Ritam. Pavrita is Amrita is there. He's interpreting it like that, and he's quoting a previous verse from the Bhagavatam for that. And I thought, yes, see, in his Tatya, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Pranatyag Kaleyo Ekathar Dara Ashuddha Varnatva Suchita Fete se Vivasharthe Tahar Nije Ichha Vyatít Anna Guno Karane O Jadi Keho Harinamacharan Kore Tadhu Namabhasa Hetu Tahar Papamukti Sambhav. So at the time of leaving this body, in a state of helplessness, which these two indicate that even if one does not personally desire, for any reason whatsoever, if he utters the holy name of Lord Hari, there is the possibility of being freed from the sins because he has chanted the holy name. in Namabhas state. अवतार गुण कर्म विडंबन अर्थ है श्री नाम अवतार आदि तुल्य शक्तिशाली. Avatar guna karma vidambana indicates that Sri Nam, the holy name, has the same potency as the incarnations and so on. And then he refers to the Padma Purana verse that if one simply, if the holy name simply enters into the ears, whether it is uttered properly or not, so then certainly very quickly it will produce the result. The famous words, Namaikam Yasya Vachi Smarana Pathatam. Is also referred to 1.1.14 of Bhagavatam, 6.2.13 to 19, both from Bhagavatam. The activities of the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are a kind of imitation of the activities going on in the material world. This is an explanation of the word Vidambana. He is just like an actor on a stage. An actor imitates the activities of a king on stage, although actually he is not the king. Similarly, when the Lord incarnates, he imitates parts with which he has nothing to do. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.14, it is said that the Lord has nothing to do with the activities in which he is supposedly engaged. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phalespriha. The Lord is omnipotent. Simply by his will, he can perform anything and everything. The Lord appeared as Lord Krishna. He played the part of the son of Yashoda and Nanda, and he lifted the Govardhan hill, although lifting a hill is not his concern. He can lift millions of Govardhan hills by his simple desire. He does not need to lift it with his hand, but he imitates the ordinary living entity by this lifting, and at the same time, he exhibits his supernatural power. Thus, his name is chanted as the lifter of Govardhan hill or Sri Govardhana Dhari. Therefore, his acts in his incarnations and his partiality to the devotees are all imitations only, just like the acts of an expert dramatic player on a stage. His acts in that capacity, however, are all omnipotent, and the remembrance of such activities of the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is as powerful as the Lord himself. Achamal remembered the holy name of the Lord Narayan by merely calling the name of his son Narayan, and that gave him a complete opportunity to achieve the highest perfection of life. 16. Yo va aham cha girishascha vibhu swayam cha sthityudbhava pralaya hetava atma moolam bhitva tripad vavruddha eka uru prarohas tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvan drumaya. Your Lordship is the prime root of the tree of the planetary systems. This tree has grown by first penetrating the material nature in three trunks, as me, as you, the Almighty, and as Shiva for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And we three have grown with many branches. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of the cosmic manifestation. Hey Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, to me, Bhuvanakar Vriksha, you are, you are like the tree of this world. तुम्हें स्वयं जे मूलेर अर्थात प्रकृतिर अधिष्ठान से प्रकृति के भेद को या सत्व रज तमो रूप तीन गुणे विभक्त হইয়া যথাক্রমে সৃষ্টি স্থিতি প্রলয় নিমিত্ত আমি ব্রহ্মা শিব এবং বিষ্ণু আমাদের তিনজনকে তিনটি পাদ স্বরূপে ধারণ করত ত্রিপাদ হইয়া বৃদ্ধিশীল হইয়াছো. You have you are personally the root of this prakriti, and you have made this prakriti distinct through the three gunas, sattva guna, raja guna, tamo guna, and in line with them, for the functioning of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation, you have accepted Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, we three, for these particular posts of responsibility to handle these three. So in that way, you are tripath. you have undertaken ultimately the control over all the three coasts. So you have, in that way, this tree is now grown. Prabhu, O Lord, ওই তরুর তিনটি পাদ বটে, কিন্তু ইহার প্রত্যেক মরীচি প্রভৃতি মণিগণ এবং মনুসকল ভূরি ভূরি শাখা প্রশাখা আছে। অতএব হে প্রভু, ভুবনধ্রুব স্বরূপ যে তুমি, তোমাকে নমস্কার করি। Yes, it has got now, the tree is now grown, it's got three parts, but then each part has several branches. For instance, like Marichi, these are great sages. Then you have others like the Manus. So, in that way, this tree is now grown with branches and sub branches and so on. Therefore, O Lord, I offer my obeisances unto you in the form of this very universe. Madhvacharya has given an interesting quote from Vamana Purana. Brahmadibhavo Vishnustu tan niyamakata bhave matsyaditavat swabhavo nanyatha kvachidishyate. Now, sometimes Vishnu is referred to as Brahma, Shiva, and so on. But that only conveys that he is the absolute controller of Brahma, Shiva, and so on. This is never to be considered to, this can never be considered to be like the Lord's teaches as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, and so on. Tripath. He is also pointing out that Tripath indicates that the Supreme Lord is found in three places. He lies on top of Anantashesh. He is in Vaikuntha, and he is in the Milk Ocean. Therefore, Lord Hari is known as Tripath. Tatra Gunavatara Karmani Darshan Pranamati. Now, this verse talks about the various activities of the Supreme Lord's Gunavataras. He points this out and he is offering his obeisances. न केवलम अहम एक एव प्रपद्ये अपितु महद्दादीनां सर्वेषाम् एव त्वत्तः उद्भूतत्वात् त्वत्प्रपत्तिर् उचिता एव इति अभिव्यञ्जयन् नमस्यति. I am not the only one who is surrendering unto you, rather, because Mahat Tattva and all the other elements, everyone has come from you. It is appropriate that everyone surrenders unto you. So, revealing this, he offers his obeisances. Atra Vibhuhu Vishnu Swayam. Cha. Where is this? Here. Look at this portion. You are personally in the form of Vishnu. Okay. So he's referring to that. Iti Vishnu Swayam Pada Prayoga Brahma Girishayo Iva Vishnu Nasti Gunadibandana Swataha Bheda Iti Gyapita. So this indicates that Brahma and Girisha refers to Lord Shiva. So Brahma and Girisha are actually connected to the gunas, but Vishnu is not connected to the gunas. So he is distinct from both of them. This information we can gather from Vibhuhu Swayamcha. Yadva, alternate meaning. Yaha eva ahamadeyaha, yaha eva atmanaha, swasya api moolam karanam. He is the root cause of myself and others, and he is the cause of himself also. तथा य एव भित्वा स्वशक्ति कृतं भेदं प्राप्य त्रिपाद प्रथमं त्रिलोकरूप तत उरुप्ररोह चतुर्दशलोकरूप तस्मै भुवन आकाराय द्रुमाय नमः इति विश्वरूपतो उक्तम. So here the Supreme Lord is referred to in his Vishwarupa form. Initially, it was pointed out that he had created differentiation between within his own potency of Maya. And then he became Tripath. So initially, he is of the nature of the three worlds. then Urupraroha, then uh, with many branches, he has become, he has attained the form of the 14 worlds. So in that way, this is a reference to the Vishwarupa form, feature of the Lord. The tree of the cosmic manifestation is grossly divided into three worlds: the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems, and then it broadens into the cosmos of 14 planetary systems with the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the supreme root. Material nature, which appears to be the cause of the cosmic manifestation, is only the agent or energy of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate satcharacharam. Acting under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord, material nature appears to be the cause of all creation, maintenance, and dissolution. The Lord expands himself into three: Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, for maintenance, creation, and destruction, respectively. Of the three principal agents controlling the three modes of material nature, Vishnu is the Almighty. Even though he is within material nature for the purpose of maintenance, he is not controlled by the laws of material nature. The other two, Brahma and Shiva, although almost as greatly powerful as Vishnu, are within the control of the material energy of the Supreme Lord, as are such secondary agents as the Manus, Marichi, and the great sages. Therefore, the conception of many gods controlling the many departments of material nature is ill conceived of by the foolish pantheist. Pantheist means one who believes that God is everything. God is one without a second, and He is the primal cause of all causes. As there are many departmental heads of governmental affairs, so there are many heads of management of the universal affairs. I see a question here. Wait. This is Achyutanam Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in previous verse number 15, when you mentioned that secondary holy names, so if someone quits his body chanting or remembering Lord's secondary holy names, like Dayalu or Deenbandhu, will he also achieve Lord's abode?
Well, there is the possibility of freedom from the sins, Papa Mukti. He can become liberated from all the sins that he has accumulated over several lifetimes.
Even through these secondary names.
Yeah. It's a fact. Okay. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, the impulsive does not believe in the personal management of things as they are. But in this verse, it is clearly explained that everything is personal and nothing is impersonal. We have already discussed this point in the introduction, and it is confirmed here in this verse. The tree of the material manifestation is described in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as an Ashwatha tree whose root is upward. We have actual experience of such a tree when we see the reflection or shadow of a tree on the surface of a reservoir of water. The reflection of the tree on the water appears to hang down from its upward roots. The description of the tree of creation in the Bhagavad Gita proves that this material world is only a shadow of the reality, which is Parabrahman, Vishnu. In the manifestation of his internal potency known as the Vaikuntha Lokas, the actual tree exists, and the tree of the material nature is only a shadow of this actual tree. The impulseless theory that Brahman is void of all variegatedness is false, because the shadow tree described in the Bhagavad Gita cannot exist without there being a real tree. The real tree is situated in the eternal existence of the spiritual nature, full of transcendental varieties, and Lord Vishnu is the root of that tree also. The root is the same, the Lord, both for the real tree and the false tree. The real means eternal, false means temporary. But the false tree is only the perverted reflection of the real tree. The Lord, being the real tree, is here offered obeisances by Brahma on his own behalf and also on behalf of Lord Shiva. 17. Loko vikarma niratah kushale pramattah karmanyayam twadudite bhavadachane swe yasthavadasya balavaniha jivitasham sadhyaschinatyanamishaya namostu tasmai. People in general all engage in foolish acts. not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time. Achyutanam Prabhu. Haribol, you had a question?
Prabhu, it was a follow-up question that this remembrance and freedom from sins, it happens when the holy name is remembered only at the time of death, or even during his lifetime he remembers, he gets the same result.
Uh, no, the reason why the final point of death is brought up is because that is a time of extreme pain and extreme confusion and so on. So if one can chant the holy name in that situation, it indicates that he is chanting in a very helpless and very intense manner. It is that kind of chanting which produces result. That's all. Obviously, if we do it during our life, also obviously Krishna will instantly give us the benefit from that. Okay. Hey Vibho, O Almighty Lord, this is what text 17 is. লোক সকল যে পর্যন্ত সাক্ষাৎ আপনার কথিত পঞ্চরাত্র ভগবদর্শন রূপ নিজ হিতে অমনোযোগী ও বিরুদ্ধ কর্মে রত থাকে সেই কাল পর্যন্তই বলবান কাল তাহাদের পরমায়ু সদ্য ছেদন করিয়া থাকে. Powerful time immediately cuts out the lifespan of that person only until he only as long as he does not fix his mind in his own benefit by engaging in the archana service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as taught in the Pancharatra scriptures by you yourself. And instead, they engage in contrary activities. Say Kala Swarup Apanake Namaskar. I offer my obeisances unto you in the form of that time. Okay, Somapati Gauranga Prabhu.
Prabhu, you said that when one is in so much unhappiness, helpless situation, that time if he calls the Lord's name, then it affects. But generally we see that now in the living condition, when we feel some sick or something, we don't even remember.
What is your question?
So, my question is that when we are unhealthy condition, so that time we cannot utter the Lord's name. The chanting itself also gets stopped. But how when one is in helpless situation, the Lord he can remember Lord's name.
You're asking how it is possible for some to utter the Lord's holy name even in a very painful, helpless condition.
Yes.
Okay. So that is because they have that degree of faith in the Lord and that they have accepted the lotus feet of the Lord with such intensity that makes them do that. So when we say that we are conscious of Krishna or we are remembering Krishna, how deep is that remembrance? How deep is that consciousness? That is all very easily proven when we are in critical situations like this. So those who do that under those circumstances, they are revealed to be closer to being true devotees of Krishna.
So how this deep consciousness will develop?
It develops through association. It develops through when one surrenders to Krishna, when one takes advantage of the instructions of those who are more advanced in Krishna consciousness, then these things come. It's not some great magic. Okay. Okay, let's move on. एवं गुणावतार कर्म विडम्बन मुक्त्वा तस्यैव तत् कालाख्यं रूपं तत् कर्म च दर्शयन् प्रणमति लोक इति द्वाभ्याम्. Then in 2 verses he reveals the form known as time and its activity in 2 verses, beginning with the current verse. Previously, he had spoken about the names which are in line with the activities performed by the Lord in imitation of this material world. And now he's talking about the form of time. विकर्मरतः विरुद्ध कर्मनिष्ठः कुशले हिते स्वे आत्मीयत्वत् उदिते त्वया एव साक्षादुक्ते भवदर्चन रूपे कर्मणि. Being absorbed in sinful activities, that means being fixed in engaging in activities that are contrary to your wish and their own benefit. As long as they do not engage in karma in the form of worship of the Lord, as directly spoken by you yourself. This Sridhar Swami takes it to be a reference to what is spoken in Bhagavad Gita. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tad kurushvam adarpanam iti. Tasmin pramattah adatta chittah yavad vartate tavad dasya lokasya animishaya kalaya. So his life is going to be destroyed through the force of time as long as he does not pay attention to this instruction of your lordship. Krishna Chakravarti Thakur Vishwarupatva Muktam Atha Vishwan Nimisham to Kalarupatvena Pranamati. He has spoken about the Vishwarupa form. Now he is talking about the form of time. Not Vishwan Nimisham, Vishwan Niyantri. Niyantri Kalarupani. And it is this time force which actually controls this whole material world. Here, this is not only a reference to human beings, it is a reference to all the different species of life. They do not pay attention to auspicious activities. Now, what is that auspicious activities? Bhavadarchane swe. ननु स्वधर्मेण तम अभ्यर्च्य इति उक्तेः ज्ञानिनः ज्ञानयज्ञेन यजन्ति ज्ञानविग्रहम् इत्युक्तेः च कर्म ज्ञान योगाभ्यामपि भगवदर्चनमेव स्यात् इति केचित् व्याचक्षते तत्र त्वदुक्ते त्वयैव मदर्चनम् इदमेव इति साक्षादुक्ते. So now different activities of the Lord, different activities pertaining to the Lord are considered to be worship of the Lord in Vedic culture. So there are some who say that you engage in your swadharma, and engaging in one's swadharma itself is a form of worship of the Lord. For the karmis, this kind of instruction is presented in Bhagavad Gita itself, 18th chapter, and we saw 9th chapter also. Then we also come across statements that for Jnanis, Jnana Yogena Yajanti Jnana Vigraham, that the Jnanis, they through the sacrifice of Jnana, they are worshipping the Supreme Lord, who is himself the personification of Jnana. So in that way, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, both of them can be considered to be worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So some offer this kind of explanation. Regarding that, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, this is about the Supreme Lord's uh, own instruction, his own instruction about how to worship him. So from the 11th canto, we understand Bhagavata Dharma refers to activities by which one can attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the activities through activities which are actually taught by the Lord Himself. So now what activities are these? Pancharatrasya Krishnasya Vaktatur Bhagavan Swayam iti moksha dharma cha swiye swakartavya ityartha. The Supreme Lord Himself has spoken the entirety of the Pancharatri scriptures according to the moksha dharma portion of the Mahabharata. So this has to be accepted as one's own set of duties. तदेवं त्वद्भक्तलोकेभ्यः अन्येषु एव कालस्य अधिकारे इति द्योतितं. So there's an indication that Kala has the eligibility and fitness to attack all souls other than those souls who are your devotees. अस्य अभक्तलोकस्य जीवितस्य अपि आशां किमुत भोगादि वाञ्छाम् इति अर्थः. So where is there factually a hope for these non-devotees or their hopes for enjoyment and so on continuously? In the Tathya, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, he's paraphrasing Jiva Goswami first. Vikarma, Bhagavad Bahirmukha Karma. Vikarma refers to activities that are averse to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Archana. Pancharatradir Ukta Archana Vidhi. Archana refers to the process of deity worship as taught in the Pancharatri scriptures and so on. Mahabharata Shanti Parve, Moksha Dharme, Ukti Hoite Jana Jai, Samudra Pancharatri Bhakta Swayam Bhagavan. So Sri Jiva Goswami says that the Moksha Dharma, which is a part of the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata, says very clearly that Swayam Bhagavan is the speaker of the entirety of the Pancharatrika scriptures. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also says that 3.7.31 of Srimad Bhagavatam should be consulted. And he also refers to the Brahmayamala statement quoted by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina, Ekantiki Hare Bhaktir Utpata Yeva Kevalam. People in general are all engaged in senseless work. They're systematically unmindful of the real beneficial work, which is the devotion service of the Lord, technically called the Archana regulations. The Archana regulations are directly instructed by the Lord in the Narada Pancharatra and are strictly followed by the intelligent men who know well that the highest perfectional goal of life is to reach Lord Vishnu, who is the root of the tree called the cosmic manifestation. Also in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, such regulative activities are clearly mentioned. Foolish people do not know that their self-interest is in realization of Vishnu. The Bhagavatam 7.5.13 to 32 says, Mataruna Krishna, Paratasvatopa, Mithobi Padyeta Graha Vratana, Padanta Gobhir, Vishatanta Punah Punashchar, Vitacharva Nana, Nate Viduswartha, Katimhi Vishnu, Durashayaye, Mahiratham Aninaha, Andha Yathandai, Rupaniyamana, Steti Shitadryam, Urudamni Pantha, Naisha Matistavad, Durukramandhrim, Spurshityanartha, Pagamoyadartha, Mahiya Sampada, Vajovishetam, Nishkinchananam, Vinita Yavat. Persons who are determined to totally rot in false material happiness cannot become Krishna minded either by instructions from teachers, by self realization, or by parliamentary discussions. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the chew. Because of their foolish activities, they are unaware that the ultimate goal of human life is to achieve Vishnu, the Lord of the cosmic manifestation. And so their struggle for existence is in the wrong direction of material civilization, which is under the external energy. They're led by similar foolish persons, just as one blind man is led by another blind man, and both fall into a ditch. Such foolish men cannot be attracted towards the activities of the Supreme Powerful, who is actually the neutralizing measure for their foolish activities, unless and until they have the good sense to be guided by the great souls who are completely freed from material attachment. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord asks everyone to give up all other occupational duties and absolutely engage in archana activities for in pleasing the Lord. This is Sarvadharman Parityajya verse. But almost no one is attracted to such archana activity. Everyone is more or less attracted by activities which are conditions of rebellion against the Supreme Lord. The systems of jnana and yoga are also indirectly rebellious acts against the Lord. There is no auspicious activity except archana of the Lord. Jnana and yoga are sometimes accepted within the purview of archana when the ultimate aim is Vishnu and not otherwise. Yatra dharmaya karma, viragaya dharma, chid rasaya viraga, tatra gaunarupena karma bhideyam. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is summarizing the scriptural instructions about when the activities of karma can be considered to be abhideya. Secondary abhideya, first of all. It is not primary abhideya, secondary abhideya. So he says, when these activities lead one to pious credits, yatra dharmaya karma, viragaya dharma, and those pious credits lead one to renunciation and detachment. External renunciation and internal detachment. And that external renunciation and internal detachment lead to realization of spiritual rasas, chid rasai. Then those activities can be considered to be, those activities of karma can be accepted as secondary abhideya. Similarly, jnana. For that he says, yatra chid rasaya jnanam, tatra gaunarupena jnanam abhideya. When the process of jnana leads to realization of spiritual rasa, bhakti rasa. Rasa always means prema bhakti rasa. Then that also can be accepted as a secondary method. Now the activities of the yoga system, some parts of it fall within the karma system, some parts of it fall within the jnana system. Some parts fall within the jnana system, some parts fall within the bhakti system. Actually, yes. That is noted by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his 11th Canto commentary. So sometimes these activities are accepted within the purview of archana, when the ultimate aim is Vishnu and not otherwise. The conclusion is that only the devotees of the Lord are bona fide human beings eligible for salvation. Others are vainly struggling for existence without any actual benefit. Achyutanam Prabhu.
Prabhu, why specifically Archan is pointed out here? Is this the same Archan of deity worship?
Yeah, Pancharatra mainly talks about deity worship. Yes.
So, like, it could have pointed out towards Shravan Kirtan.
Oh, the vast majority of the souls require to engage in deity worship, different activities of deity worship, along with the Nama Sankirtan. But first of all, the Nama Sankirtan was also referred to earlier, no? That if one chants blissfully at the moment of death, then that is already brought up.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's not avoided. But still, the vast majority of the souls need to engage all of their karmendriyas and jnanendriyas in the service of the Lord. In first canto, Prabhupada in one purport says, Bhagavata Vidhi is to utilize the subtle body in the service of the Lord. Whereas Pancharatrika Vidhi is to utilize the gross body in the service of the Lord. So both are there.
Okay, bro. Thank you, bro.
In fact, in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had sannyasis, everybody engaged in deity worship. And brahmachari. In the Madhva line and all, the sannyasis, their daily duty is to worship the deity first of all. First of all, they have to worship the deity, I think till 11 o'clock or something. And only then, after offering, they can take the Mahapasa. He is given a complete discipline. Deity worship is very, very important for the vast majority. You cannot easily deny that. 18. Yasmad bibhimyahamapi द्विपरार्धधिष्ण्यं मध्यासितः सकललोक नमस्कृतं यत् तेपे तपो बहुसवो वरुत्समानस्तस्मै नमो भगवते धीमखाय तुभ्यम्. Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you who are indefatigable time and the enjoyer of all sacrifice. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 parardhas. Parardha is half of Brahma's life. It is a unit of time. So 2 parardhas refers to Brahma's life. Although I am the leader of all other planets in the universe, and although I have undergone many, many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my obeisances unto you. Hey Bhagavan, Sarvalokamaanya, Dviparartha Kalasthai Sthana Arudha Ami Brahma. Oh, even I, Brahma, who has climbed up to the position that lasts for 2 parardhas, and I have climbed onto a post which is honored by the whole world. Kal Roop apna hoite bhito hoy. I'm afraid of you in your form of time. Time in the Vedic conception always refers to the force of destruction, the destructive force of time. এবং আপনাকে পাইবার জন্য বহুবিধ যজ্ঞের অনুষ্ঠান পূর্বক বা বহু বৎসর তপস্যা করি. And in order to attain you, I engage in various activities of sacrificial performances of various kinds, or I engage in tapasya for several years. Say Jagyadi Karmer Adhishtatra Swarup Apnake Namaskar. My obeisances unto you, who is the presiding deity of all these activities of sacrifice and so on. आस्तां तावत् लोकस्य कथा यस्मात् काल आख्यात् वक्तः यद् द्विपरार्ध अवस्थायि विशिष्ण्यं स्थानं तद् आरूढः अपि बिभेमि. What to speak of the world? Even I am very frightened. I am climbed on to the highest state which lasts for 2 parardhas, but even I am frightened. This is the ultimate limit of the strength of time which has been spoken of before. Yasmat kalat aham brahma adviparartha avasthai sthanam satyalokam adhyasitah api. So that position refers to the position of control over satyaloka. Adhyasitah api vivemi tatha avarodhamana avarodham kalam vashikartum ichcham. I have a desire to actually control this time, and therefore bahava sava yajna yasya tathabhuta santapascha aham tepi. So I engage in various sacrifices and various austerities. Tadapi vivemi ityartha. And still I am afraid of this time. Nanu kala vashikara artham bhaviyagya pravritau tava kada ka yuktirasi. So what was in your mind when you were thinking of engaging in all these sacrificial performances in order to control time? Anticipating this question, tatraha athimakhaya makhanam adhishtatre tubhyam namaha. I offer my obeisance unto the presiding deity of your Lordship, who is unto your Lordship, who is the presiding deity of these sacrifices. Makhanam adhishtatuhu tava matai eva yajanena kalha me vashibhavatu iti buddhya iti artha. So with the idea, I did all this with the idea that may time come under my control by engaging in sacrifices of worship of your Lordship. May time come under my control. With this in mind, I did this. Pratyuta kalena eva aham vashikrita. On the other hand, I have come under the control of time. Samprati api vivimi. Right now also I'm afraid. Ataha tava shuddha bhaktim vina kalaha na jeyaha bhavati. So unless one engages in Shuddha Bhakti to your Lordship, time cannot be conquered. Iti adya yata tattvaha. So today I understood the truth. Atah param shuddhameva bhakti karvani iti dhvani. So he hints that now that I have understood the truth, from now onwards, I will only engage in pure bhakti to your Lordship. Okay. Brahma is the greatest personality in the universe because he has the longest duration of life. He is the most respectable personality because of his penance, influence, prestige, etc. And still he has to offer his respectful obeisance to the Lord. Therefore, it is incumbent. Incumbent means it is obligatory upon all others who are far, far below the standard of Brahma to do as he did and offer respects as a matter of duty. And one thing we notice in the information that is presented to us about the universal structure and so on, or the different persons who are residing in different places within the universe, that duration is considered high or low according to various criteria. But one important criteria is always the duration of their life, how long they live. So the residents of the worlds just below Satyaloka, they live little, they don't live completely up to Brahma's life, but a little lower than that. So this kind of information is known from the scriptures. So if Brahma himself is surrendering unto the Supreme Lord, then it follows that everyone should surrender unto the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord is Vishnu. This is the point. 19. Triyan Manusya Vivar Jiva Yonishatme Chayatmak Setu Paripsayaya Reme Nirasta Vishayopya Ruddha Dehas Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Purushottamaya. O my Lord, by your own will, you appear in the various species of living entities, lower animals, human beings, demigods, and others to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contamination. You come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion. And therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisance unto you for manifesting such different forms. हे भगवान, ओ सुप्रीम लॉर्ड, आपने आत्मा रामता हेतु जीव गोचर प्राकृत विषय सुख होते निरस्त হইয়াও নিজ কৃত ধর্ম মর্যাদা পালনের জন্য স্বেচ্ছাক্রমে দেব পশু পক্ষী ও নরাদি জীব জনিতে স্বীয় নিত্যমূর্তি প্রকট করিয়া ক্রীড়া করিয়া থাকেন। Because you are an Atmaram, you desist from the happiness enjoyed, the happiness of sense enjoyment, material sense enjoyment that is within the range of the jivas. Despite this, in order to maintain the codes of conduct according to dharma, which have been presented by you yourself, by your own volition, by your own will, you reveal your eternal form within the various species of life, such as the devas, the animals, the birds, the human beings, and so on. And you engage in various sports. अतएव आपनाते उपाधि धर्म में संस्पर्श ना था खाते अपने ही पुरुषोत्तम. Therefore, meaning because material designations do not touch you, you are factually the Purushottama, the Supreme Soul. Shad Aishwarya Shali Apnake Namaskar. Obeisances unto you who possess the six opulences. Purushottama is actually a name of Lord Vishnu, but at the same time, it literally means that he is the Supreme Soul, actually. Idanim tattat kalam bhavi leelavatara karmani darshayannaha. Now, he refers to various activities performed by various pastimes of incarnation, including the ones that will take place in the future. Tiryagadishu jiva yonishu swa ichchaya svikritamurti san स्वकृत धर्म मर्यादा पालन इच्छया रेमे वस्तुतः स्वानन्दानुभवेन एव निरस्तविषयसुखः अपि यः अपि एव पुरुषोत्तमः तत्तत् उपाधि धर्म असंस्पर्शात्. He is Purushottama. That is very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita. Yasmaksharamatitom aksharaadapi chottama atosmi loke vede cha pratitah purushottama. Because I am beyond the kshara and I am also beyond the akshara. Therefore, I am well known in this world and in the Veda as Purushottama. It looks like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is giving a long commentary. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has given a long tathya also. I think he's dealing with Sridhar Swami, Jiva Goswami, and Vishnu Chakravarti. Just paraphrased all of them. Okay. In that case, let me anyway take it. Vishnu Chakravarti's commentary seems to be long. तदेवं जगद्रूपत्वेन तन्नियन्त्रिकालरूपत्वेन च प्रणम्य इदानीं परम उपास्य सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपत्वेन प्रणमति. So he has offered obeisances unto the Supreme Lord as the form of the universe. He has offered obeisances unto the Supreme Lord as the form of time, the force and destructive force of time, who controls that universe. Now he offers his obeisances unto his own supreme object of worship, the Supreme Lord in his personal feature of Sachidananda. Tiryakadishu swa ichaya eva avatirna iti shesha. Swakrita setu paripsaya reme atma ramatva tyakta vishaya sukha api. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yomi bhaktya prayachati iti. Tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmana iti. स्वकृत मर्यादा पालनाय स्वभक्त उपनीत स्रक चंदन गंध पुष्प शय्यादि उपभोग्येषु एव रेमे नाहमात्मानं नाशासे मद्भक्ते साधुभिर्विना इति आत्मारामत्वे अपि अपूर्ण काम इव इति भाव. So the Supreme Lord, he descends to this world even though he is an Atmarama and even though he has nothing to do with Vishaya Sukha or sense enjoyment. As noted in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, the Supreme Lord, in order to protect this principle of Dharma, this principle of Bhagavata Dharma, noted in 9.26, he enjoys the various items that are given in devotion by his devotees, such as garland, sandalwood, fragrance, flowers, bed, and so on. And he is also noted in 9.4.64 that I'm not very happy I'm not even happy with myself without my saintly devotees. So this indicates that even though he's Atmarama, he considers himself to be dissatisfied without his pure devotees. Sragadinam prakrita vishayatve api bhagavartha viniyuktvatve sati takshana eva prakritatvam syaditi ekadashi vyakti bhavishyati. Even though the garland and so on, which are offered by the pure devotees, even though they are material objects, because they are engaged purely for the service of Bhagavan, at that very moment they become non-material. This will be revealed in the 11th canto, 11.25.27 to 29. Avaruddha deha bhaguri mate aveti akaralopayugutvad anavruddha deha sachidananda sharira eveti. So the Supreme Lord's body is Sachidananda, yadva, or else. Atmakrita Saito, Swabhakta Vashyatva Rupa Maryadaya Pari, Sarvato Bhavena Ipsaya, Prapti Ichaya, Shri Yashodaya, Damna Iva, Anyehi Api Bhaktaihi Pranaya Rasanaya Avaruddha Deha. So even though he is Atmarama, he comes under the control of his devotees. He comes within the boundaries of the control of his own pure devotees in every manner, just like Sri Yashoda, who was trying to catch the Supreme Lord with a rope like that. Other devotees also, with the rope of intense selfless affection, they capture his body. Ataha sarvotkarshat maha महत्सृष्टाद्यन्तर्यामी अंतर्यामी पुरुषेभ्यः अपि उत्तमाय इति कृष्णावतारे एव तात्पर्यम्. So the incarnation of Lord Krishna is the one who is superior to all the other Purushas, including the creator of the Mahatattva and these other super soul features. Yaduktam, as it has been stated. Yasmaksharam atitoham aksharadapi chottamaha atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottamaha, which has been presented by Lord Krishna in 15.8 of Bhagavad Gita. Of course, this is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanation, which we also saw in Bhakti Shastri in your study. Achyutanam Prabhu.
Prabhuji, so does Lord appear in all the 84 lakh species?
That I do not know it, but it does appear. It does appear so. He can appear wherever he wants. Anyway, he is a super soul in the bodies of all the species. So it is no surprise if he has to assume a form that is captivating to each of these species.
But species other than humans, they cannot understand anything about devotional service. So even if the Lord appears, how they will understand?
No, there are also celestial birds and all these. It is not that a bird only refers to a bird within the human world. They're also superior. There are, for instance, Airavata is an animal, but it is a celestial animal. So many things need to be taken into consideration. When it talks about various species, we need to see all that. Apart from that, when he manifests himself as, for instance, Lord Krishna or Lord Ramachandra, the son of Dasharatha, he is attractive to various species of life also. He is very attractive to various species of life also. That is also there. Okay, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, he paraphrases Sridhar Swami. Purushottam. Upadi dharme samsparsha na thaka hetu bhagavan hi purushottam. Because Bhagavan is not touched by material designations, therefore he is the actual Purushottam. And then he is referring to Bhagavad Gita 15.18. And then he is paraphrasing it. Vibhinnangsha Jeev, Chaitanya Roop, Vibhinnangsha Chaitanya Roop Jeev, Dvida, Shad or Akshar. This is actually Sridhar Swami's own Bhagavad Gita, based on Sridhar Swami's own explanation of Bhagavad Gita. The conscious living entity who is a distinct part and parcel from the Lord is of two types, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara Swabhava Prajukta Anekavasta Baddha Jiva Kshara Purush. And it is this Baddha Jiva who is in various states because he has the nature of a Kshara. He has the status of being perishable. He is known as the Kshara Purusha. Tat Abhava Prayukta Ekavasta Jiva Akshara Mukta Purusha. On the other hand, you have that jiva who is in a single status, not in a multi-status position, because he is not in a perishable status. This refers to the Akshara Purusha or the Mukta Purusha. This is the liberated soul. Brahma Adi Stambha Parjanta Bhuta Sammoha Akshara Uputastha Purusha Sarvada Ekavasta Ataev Akshara. So Kshara refers to all the living creatures from Brahma down to inanimate objects. And that soul who is always in a single status of liberation, that is the Akshara. Ei Kshar or Akshar Vachya Ubhayavada Purush Hoite Ami Bhagavan Atito Utkrishti. And I, Bhagavan, I am superior to, and I excel both of these categories of Purushas. অতএব লোকেও ভেদে আমাকে পুরুষোত্তম বলিয়া জানবে. Therefore, people celebrate me as the Purushottama, both in the world and in the Vedas. And then Jiva Goswami refers to Jiva Goswami. Vadajiv Gochari Krita Prakrita Artha Vishay Hoite Bhagavan Garastha. The Supreme Lord desists from material sense objects which are within the range of the conditioned source. अर्थात प्रकृत जीव अक्षच ज्ञाने एकमात्र परम भोक्ता भगवानेर विषय भोग मापिया नीते पारे ना. In other words, the materialistic jivas, by dint of their sensory knowledge, cannot measure the sense enjoyment of Bhagavan, who is the supreme enjoyer and who is in fact the only enjoyer. And then he's paraphrasing Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, which we already saw. Okay. Achyutananda.
Prabhu, Lord is Atmaram, but still he's not very, he feels frustrated without his pure devotees. So it sounds contradictory. So can we reconcile by saying that like his pure devotees are emanated from him only, so he's not dependent on anyone external?
This way, Vishwanath clearly says that he is as if dissatisfied. He's not saying that he's dissatisfied. He's as if dissatisfied.
Okay. And Prabhu, there are some questions in the
Apurna Kama Iva iti bhava. As if dissatisfied. As if he is Apurna Kama.
Okay, bro. And Prabhu, there are questions in chat box also accumulating.
Okay, wait, let me have a look at that. Wait. How it is. Sometimes we hear some non-devotees give up their body by uttering the names of the Lord. Do they also attain the Lord's abode? If they actually, at the moment of death, when they are chanting the Lord's names, that is one thing. But that is not as easy as we think it is. Madhvacharya gives one quotation that at the last moment of death, Vishnu Maya will come and make one forget Lord Vishnu. If one has prarabdha karma, is one type of karmic reaction, one category of karmic reactions. If one still has prarabdha karma with him. So at the very last moment alone, he will not be able to chant. He may be chanting even 1 second up to death, but at that moment, he will not be able to chant. Do these names come to mind even if a person hasn't overcome their anarthas? No, it doesn't look like. Unless one is able to chant very, very carefully. Like Ajamila, for instance, very much particular about chanting his son's name. He is always chanting his son's name. We'll see that in the 6th canto. What is the exact reason why we chant in front of Tulasi Maharani? Why we chant in front of Tulasi Maharani? Why we chant on Tulasi beads? All of this is to get the mercy of Tulasi Devi. She is a very dear associate of Lord Krishna. The garland offered to the Lord becomes spiritual, but still we see getting transformed. How to understand this? No, it becomes spiritual in the sense that it has the effect of satisfying the Supreme Lord, the way a garland in the spiritual world satisfies the Supreme Lord. So when somebody who's engaged in Uttama Bhakti offers a material garland to the Lord, he's as satisfied as a garland that is offered to him in the spiritual world. So the Lord's satisfaction with this devotee is on the same platform. That is the idea. Purport. The Lord's incarnations and different species of life are all transcendental. He appears as a human being in his incarnations of Krishna, Rama, etc., but he's not a human being. Anyone who mistakes him for an ordinary human being is certainly not very intelligent, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti va mudha manashim tanamashritam. The same principle is applicable. He appears as the hog or fish incarnation. They are transcendental forms of the Lord and are manifested under certain necessities of his own pleasure and pastimes. Such manifestations of the transcendental forms of the Lord are accepted by him mostly to enliven his devotees. All his incarnations are manifested whenever there is a need to deliver his devotees and maintain his own principles. 20. Yo vidyaya anupa hatopi dasardhavritya nidranuvaha jathari Kritaloka yatra antarjalehi kashipu sparshanukulam bhimormima linijanasya sukham vibrinvan. My Lord, we accept the pleasure of sleeping in the water of devastation where there are violent waves. We enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to intelligent persons. At that time, all the universal planets are stationed within your abdomen. Okay, let me just look at this. Figure Swami. Idanim Drishyamana Ekam Murtim Pranamati. Now here is one form that Brahma sees. This is a form, the only form that the Lord is actually manifesting to external sense perception. And he's offering his obeisances unto this particular form in two verses. Tashadha Panchavrittaya Yasya Taya Avidyaya Nidra Hetu Bhutaya Anabhibhutaha Api Loganitra. You are actually not influenced by the various functionings of the life airs and so on. So you are not going to sleep like the conditioned souls. Still you engage in yoga nidra. Tasmai te nama iti uttarena anvaya. I offer my obeisances unto you. Jatri krata udare vilapita lokayatra lokastitihi yena. Ahireva kashipu shaya. Tasya sparshaha anukulaha yasya stam nidra. So you are sleeping very happily on this bed of this snake. भीमानां उर्विणां माला विद्यन्ते यस्मिन् अन्तर्जले निद्राणस्य अविवेकिनः जनस्य निद्रासुखम् ईदृगिति विवृण्वन् प्रदर्शयन्. And you are showing to ignorant people, if you want to sleep, this is how you sleep with great happiness. Upahasan ityartha. So in this way he ridicules the happiness of the non-discriminating materialistic people. Ateva antarjaladi visheshanani. Therefore here so much of description about how he is under the water. Yadva purvakalpi shrantasya janasya vishrama sukham vibrinvan spharayam tadatu para upakaraya swayam duksaham api dukham sodhavyam iti dyotanartham visheshanani. Another meaning is, for the sake of public welfare, he points out that even though distress may be very difficult to tolerate, still one should tolerate. Okay, this we'll look in the next session. Okay. Okay, I'll stop with this. Panchangapatra Veshika Pasan Divya Vacha Pattana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.